Anyone got a pencil? Hello, my name's Mark and I'm the host of the Mixtape podcast, where every week on the show I will ask my guests to make up an imaginary mixtape. They'll give it a title and pick 6 tracks. Track 1, what's going to be your intro track, your attention grabber, your track 1 side one that's going to draw me in and make me want to listen to the rest of your tape. Track 2, pick a song that you sing loud and proud when you're on your own in the car or the shower. Track 3, pick your favourite cover version. Track 4, pick a song you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self. Track 5, pick a song that you would put on your mixtape to let the listener know that you are romantically interested. And track 6, I'm going to ask them to pick something a little bit obscure, maybe a B-side or an album track. Don't forget to smash that follow or plus sign at the top of the page and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. And you can follow me on Instagram at the Mixtape Perth. Hope you enjoy this week's chat. Hello and welcome to this week's mixtape, and I am pinching myself just a little bit when I say welcome to this week's guest, blues legend Mr. Walter Trout. How are you doing, Walter?
I'm doing great, Mark. How you doing, man?
I'm really well, mate. I'm really well. Just let me get this out of the way before we get any further. I'm a massive, massive fan. I have been since I was a teenager. So just wanted to get that out of the way. And now I can be a much more professional host and presenter.
Okay.
Just wanted to get that off my
That's good,
chest.
man.
Okay, so you're coming to Australia January and February next year. You're bringing the tour to Brisbane, Cairns, Sydney, Newcastle, Canberra, Melbourne, Adelaide, and saving the best till last. Obviously, you're playing the Freo Social in Fremantle on the 3rd of February. Tickets through moshtix.com.au for that one. It's been a while since you've been in Australia, Walter. Pre-COVID, I think.
Yeah, I was here. I was there in 2018. I did a short club tour, and I did Byron Bay Blues Fest that year. And I was supposed to come back in 2020, but then the pandemic happened and everything fell through.
Yeah. We're under a bit of an avalanche at the moment in Australia of rescheduled tours. There's so many gigs happening at the moment where people are coming back from tours that they had to reschedule because of COVID. So your new album that you're touring to support is Ride. I noticed on your website that that's available in some very tasty looking red vinyl and black vinyl as well. Are you much of a vinyl collector yourself, Walter?
I mean, I do have a good record collection, yeah, and that's what I like to listen to is vinyls.
Mm-hmm.
I still
Yeah.
really enjoy that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
Same.
very happy that my record label releases my stuff on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think I read somewhere not too long ago that vinyl's overtaken CDs now as in sales for physical formats of music.
Yes, it
There's more
has.
vinyl
Yeah.
selling now than CDs. I just wanted to take you back a little bit, Walter, to sort of the early days, and you played with sort of some iconic names in the blues world. You know, John Lee Hooker. You were in Canned Heat as well for a while. But tell me how it felt when you sort of got the phone call from John Mayall to join the Bluesbreakers. Like that must have been a sort of a real buzz to get that phone call.
Well, I will tell you, when John called me and asked me to join his band, I said, of course. And then I hung up the phone and I sat down in silence for a couple minutes, and I thought to myself, my life has changed forever. That gig is going to do more for me than anything I could have done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, if you're a blues playing guitar player and you're a side man, which is what I was a side man, that's as high up as you can go. Mm-hmm. And when I say that to people, they go, well, maybe you could get a gig with B.B. King. And I go, well, yes, but then you stand in the background and play chords all night. With Mr. Mayall, he features you, he nurtures you, he pushes you out in front of the crowd, yells your name and lets you sing. He lets you front the band. He develops you and gets you prepared. That's like going to a university of the blues and getting your PhD. And then after 5 or 6 years with Mr. Mayall, you either stay with him or you go solo, because any other gig that you take is going to be going backwards after that gig. So
Yeah.
I knew, man, I knew my life has changed forever. And I'm standing in the place where Eric Clapton stood and Peter Green and Mick Taylor. And it felt amazing. And every night that I went on stage with John Mayall, I was still starstruck. And he's still like a father to me. And I love the man. And when I see him, get to hang out with him, I am still starstruck by him.
You sort of preempted my next question there, because I was going to ask you, like, and those were exactly the three names that I had in mind were Mick Taylor, Eric Clapton, and Peter Green. Like, to follow in their footsteps, like, did you feel any kind of like weight of expectation or pressure or anything like that? You know, following on from those sorts of players.
Well, here's a good story for you. Back when I was learning to play guitar, the way you learned was you got records by your favorite guitarist and you sat down and played along. And I knew, for instance, the Bluesbreakers album with Eric Clapton. I knew every song on there, every solo, note for note. I had studied it. So the first night I went out on stage with John and we were doing some of those songs, I played those Clapton solos note for note, and I thought that's what he wanted. And after the gig, he knocked on my hotel room door and he said, I have to talk to you. And he said, Walter, I hired you because I love the way you play. If I wanted Eric Clapton solos, I'd call Eric. He goes, I want you to approach those songs, but I want you to put your own signature on those tunes. I want you to be free. Don't play Eric Clapton solos. Let me hear what Walter has to offer. And he freed me. And that was just an amazing, I sat in my room and went, oh, this is great. Tomorrow night when we play Steppin' Out or some of those songs off of that album, I can just play what I feel. And I felt that he had this great tradition behind him with those guitar players. He freed me to play my own thing. And then I developed as a guitarist.
And then after you mentioned earlier that was like your PhD, did you feel like, were you inspired and sort of encouraged by John then to go and start and front your own band yourself?
Well, you know, I had always written songs. Back when I lived in New Jersey and was a teenager, I was writing songs, and I had this dream all the time that someday I would have my own band and I would write the tunes and I would provide the musical direction. But I was very happy being a sideman. I was in one of the greatest blues bands in the world with him. I was touring the world, flying first class, making great money, playing big shows. It was awesome. But I knew eventually I had to move on, you know.
The way you sort of came to my sort of attention as a teenager, as I mentioned at the start there, I did an apprenticeship when I was in my teens, and I was very lucky. Two guys who were responsible for me during that time. I think in the 4 years I was with them, they taught me more about the blues and rock and roll than they did about like engineering and the stuff I was supposed to be learning. And it was one day one of them came in with a tape, and it was No More Fish Jokes. And he said, have a listen. And that was it. I was hooked. And I wanted to ask you particularly something I've always wanted to know.
That's a fish joke. I was hooked. You're making a fish joke. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
That was completely unintentional. No pun intended. Sorry. But the one song that sticks out to me on that record is "Girl from the North Country," but the solo that you play is one of the most beautiful solos I've ever heard. How do you achieve that sound? That's kind of, it runs through a lot of your songs as well. That solo sound, that violin sort of effect that you do on the guitar.
The violin effect is done with the volume button on the guitar. I play,
Right.
it's a
Okay.
guitar and an amp. I don't use pedals.
Yeah.
So what you do is you turn, when you're playing a Stratocaster, all the controls of the
Yeah.
guitar are within reach of
Hmm.
your pinky. Pickup selector, the volume buttons, you don't have to stop playing. Whereas
Hmm.
I started my career on a Les Paul and I'd be going like this and then down here and like this. And I spend half the time with my hand flopping around.
Hmm.
Um, what you do is you turn the volume off on the guitar, you pick the note, and then as soon as you pick it, you slowly bring the volume up. And
Right.
you
Okay.
can get violin sound. And
Yeah.
also, if you do it properly and you use the pickup on the neck, if you do it properly, you can also get a flute sound.
Oh wow. Okay.
And this was, I can be honest, this was when I was a teenager. And how can I put this? It was the 60s, and I was sitting around with a guitar and I was hallucinating. Um, I would try to figure how many weird sounds I can get. Like I actually figured out how to make the guitar sound like a 5-string
Mm.
banjo and a flute. And it was all, let's see what weird sounds I can get out of this thing just by manipulating the controls of the
Mhm.
guitar.
One of the great things about me doing this job now is I get to ask questions like that I've always wondered about to the person. So yeah, that's great. I'm a bit conscious of time, Walter, so I'm going to move into the mixtape section of the interview. And my show's called the Mixtape, and it's inspired by those two guys that I mentioned earlier, who gave me my first mixtape and set me on the path of musical sort of enlightenment as such. So what I ask people to do is pretend you're making me or anyone, doesn't have to be me, an imaginary mixtape. And I'm going to ask you to pick some songs to go on your mixtape, and I'm going to give you a category for each song. So we'll get through these as quickly as we can. Track one of your mixtape, Walter, is like an attention grabber. Like, what song would you put on the tape that's going to grab my attention and pull me in and make me want to listen to the rest of the tape?
Well, it depends on what your taste is, but I would probably start off with maybe Bob Dylan with Subterranean Homesick
Mm-hmm.
Blues.
Great choice. Have you ever played with Dylan?
I have not, but I can tell you that the bass player who's coming to Australia with me is the bass player on Bob Dylan's
Ah,
current
cool,
album.
cool. That's close enough.
But
That's
then
close
I
enough.
would also go to another Dylan song, and it would be the from the Freewheelin', Bob's
Mhm.
second album, his version of Girl from the North Country on that album.
Yeah, yeah.
That is one of the most beautiful, heartfelt things that I've ever heard. And
Mhm.
he's finger picking, and he was a great finger picker, man.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
He doesn't get
absolutely.
enough. He doesn't get enough credit for when he first came out, and it was just him with a guitar. His finger picking was
Mhm.
incredible.
And track two for the mixtape, Walter, is put a song on your mixtape that you sing loud and proud when you're on your own in the car or the shower.
Something I sing loud and proud would probably be "Start Me Up"
Ah, great
by the
one. That's a
Rolling
great choice.
Stones. And just when that guitar comes in, that does it. And I can
Yeah.
tell you something, in the early 80s when I toured Australia with Canned Heat,
Mhm.
that song used to be our entrance music.
Right. Okay.
When we
Yeah.
were walking on stage, we would have that song playing. And at the
Yeah.
end of the song, as soon as it ended, we'd start.
Okay. And track three of your mixtape, Walter, is what's your favorite cover version?
My favorite cover version is, again, it's weird. I keep going back to Bob Dylan, but the Rod Stewart version of Only a Hobo.
Okay. I don't think I know that one.
That's a Bob Dylan
Mhm.
song, but it's done by Rod Stewart. And if you're going to look it up, get the studio version.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
him. He's got Ron Wood playing a 12-string guitar and a mandolin,
Mhm.
and he's got an upright bass. And that's all he has in there. He
Right.
sings
Okay.
it, and it's spectacular.
So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, you can access the songs that we're talking about by clicking in the description, and there will be a link to a Spotify playlist to the songs that we're talking about now. Track 4 of your mixtape, Walter, is pick a song that you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self. Any era. So it could be a song that came out yesterday, could be a song that came out 30 years ago. A song you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self.
Let's do The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King, which to
I
me
love
is
that
sort
song.
of the ultimate blues record. That's the pinnacle to me,
Mhm.
and it's
That's
got to
one.
be the studio version with the
Yeah,
strings.
absolutely. I was just going to say that the strings on that track absolutely kill me every single time. That is one of my all-time favorite tracks, top 10 of all time, all genres, not just blues. And finally, Walter, I'm going to ask you one more track, and that is to pick a song to put on your mixtape that you would let the listener know that you're romantically interested. If you were trying to woo
You
Marie, like
mean,
back in the day, like what song would you put on your mixtape to let her know?
oh, yes, what song to woo her? Wow. Um, Believe it or not, I would probably, here's a really old one. If I could get Fred Astaire singing, they can't take that away from me. Now,
Mhm.
I don't know how that's going to go over with your listeners, but that's one of the greatest love songs. Tony Bennett doing The Shadow of Your Smile. That is the ultimate version of the ultimate love song.
Brilliant. Brilliant choice. Tony Bennett. Love that. Rest in peace, Tony Bennett. Okay. I think I'm about out of time there, Walter. So I'm going to wrap it up there, mate. Honestly, it's been such a thrill to get to chat to you and say hello and find out and ask those questions that I've always wanted to ask you. Thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to see you in February in Fremantle. Yeah. So safe travels, mate, and all the best and good luck.
Well, in Fremantle, let's meet in person and shake hands. Okay, Mark?
We'll catch up for a coffee for sure.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Take
Thanks,
care,
Walter.
man.
Take care, mate. See you later. Such a buzz, such a buzz, such a thrill to get to chat to Walter Trout, one of my all-time blues guitar heroes. WalterTrout.com is your one-stop shop for vinyl, CDs, downloads, merch, tour dates, and everything else. And it's moshtix.com.au for the last remaining tickets for Walter's Australia tour in January, February 2024. That was a Mixtape podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to jump up to the top of the page and smash that follow button, and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. Or follow me on Instagram at the Mixtape Perf. Till the next time.